Hey everyone, welcome to Jimmy John's Field for another exciting matchup between the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers and the Utica Unicorns. Alongside Jeremy Otto, I'm Jenna Rose here on the USPBL Network. It was a late night last night. Going into 10 extra innings, the Beavers are coming back again today, less than 24 hours later to compete in another matchup against the Utica Unicorns. But we saw some exciting things from the Beavers heading into that matchup yesterday. Throughout the last 5 games, they had a total of 37 strikeouts, but it seems as though they flipped the script because they were able to tally plenty of extra base power.
And you'd say maybe because they went home at midnight or whatever it was, 11:30 last night, a lot of the players obviously live close because of host families in the apartments. But I think today it's going to benefit the Beavers, especially getting those increased at-bats, getting the confidence behind the extra base hits as well. This is a club that we have really expected to break out offensively at some point. They just haven't done it, and Ed Campanella, their manager, has even said, I'm just waiting for some of these guys who hit so well in college and thought they would translate very well. And you're starting to see that. Connor Bagneski has obviously been a spark plug to the top of this lineup as well. And I was kind of thinking about it on the way in as well. And we talked about it a little bit on air as well, but when you have a guy that has so much speed, whether he's leading off the game, leading off an inning, it's almost like the extra emphasis of, number one, I can't throw a good pitch to this guy. Number two, I don't want to walk this guy because he's going to wreak havoc on the base pass. So that's quite the pressure standpoint from a pitching side because there's not a lot of margin for error, and we saw the steals come into factor as well last night, coming into some big opportunities as well for both teams. So I think he's the guy that will continue to kind of set the tempo for this lineup. But ever since he's been here, that's kind of when things have trended upwards for the Beavers.
Absolutely. There's power throughout the entire lineup. It's nice to see they're finally getting into the groove, but as you said, for the opposing pitcher, that pressure is going to fall on the shoulders of right-handed pitcher Miguel Sereno, who gets the nod for the Utica Unicorns. And on the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers side of things, it's going to be Cole Gidley. So Jeremy, what are you anticipating to see on the bump today?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting point because we've talked about the last couple days what the next tenure will be after the 4 guys left to the Minnesota Twins, 4 of the best pitchers in the league, 1 from each team. Everybody's sort of adjusting to what they want to be at this point. I know there's going to be potentially some moves and getting some further starting pitchers in here, just pitchers in general, to account for those losses. But Miguel Sereno and Cole Gidley are 2 guys who have kind of hung around the starting role, but mostly come out of the bullpen. Sereno most recently starting the last few games in a row in terms of appearances for him. I think these are 2 guys, unless there's some major overhauls with these rosters, that we could see starting going forward. And when you look at just sheer velocity numbers and the stuff that these guys have, it could be an exciting part for them to kind of step in that larger role. For some guys, maybe they're just waiting to take on the specific role they have with this team. Maybe that's just what they need to really feel comfortable, I guess.
It's a new era here in the USPBL. However, dialing back into today's game for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, let's take a look at that lineup. Leading off and playing shortstop is going to be Keyshawn Lynch. Batting second out in center field is Connor Bagneski, who has been quite potent here in this Beavers lineup. Batting third is going to be Christian LeBoy out in right field, also a power bat when we look at the Beavers lineup. Batting cleanup is going to be Roy Verdejo out in left field. Playing first base, batting fifth will be Travis McFarland. Playing the hot corner, batting sixth will be RJ Williams Jr. Following RJ will be Collier Rutledge batting seventh as the designated hitter. Up next will be Nefi Mercedes. He will be batting, sorry, I can't do math today, Jeremy. He'll be batting eighth today, playing second base, and rounding up the lineup is going to be Blom, who is catching. Woo, long night last night, but we're getting back into it.
As for the home Utica Unicorns here today, it's Frankie Leska leading it off and playing left field. Colby Johnson bats second and plays right. Drew Galassi in the 3-hole as he plays center field here today, trying to bring that power back to the lineup along with Noah Childress, who hits in the cleanup spot behind him here today, playing third base. Nick Olch will DH in the 5-hole here today. Donovan Curiel bats 6 and plays the shortstop position. More on him later, but that bat really starting to come around the last 5 games. The newcomer John Pitchman back in the lineup at first base, hitting 7th. Finney catching the pitches from Miguel Sereno today, catching, and John Hodo will be the 9th hitter and second baseman today for Jim Essien.
Unicorns versus Beavers, you will not want to miss it here on the USPBL Network. Game time is 7:05 p.m.
repeating that you'll never fall in love when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart.
USPBL Baseball on the USPBL Network is presented by MMI Door here tonight and proudly sponsored by the following: AAA, Ascension, Belfour Property Restoration, Budweiser, DTE Energy, Fifth Third Bank, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Valpak, and UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for this league. A light drizzle starting to fall here at Jimmy John's Field. Most stands, most fans staying in place. You see some jackets kind of being held over their heads, but that tarp has been put on the pitcher's mound just within the last couple minutes here at Jimmy John's Field. And looking at the radar, it's nothing substantial. I know there's some scattered thunderstorms in the area in general that might show up later, but we hope to have baseball in time here today, as there's no indication that they would put the big tarp on the field at this point. And the players still warming up to the same. Looks like the pitchers have finished their warm-up for the most part, and a good time to transition into our pitcher comparison here today, brought to you by Ascension. It's Cole Gidley going for the beer today, and Miguel Unicorns, two guys who have a starting role here today, in part maybe due to some of the guys that have been lost, but have started here or there for their respective teams. Jenna?
Well, for Sereno, he definitely is a contender in the absence, as we've been talking about before, for the players who have been picked up by the Twins. But so far this season for Sereno, 24 innings of work where he's allowed 6 runs during that span, has walked 9, and has struck out 19. Struts into today's outing with an ERA of 2.25. Opposing batters are only hitting 133 against Sereno. Typically on the mound, we're going to see him utilize his 4-seam and his 2-seam. Sereno is currently working on his slider, so keep an eye out for that. He's sprinkling his changeup in every now and again, and he's someone who doesn't really find himself too often in a 3-0 count, only having 6 so far this season, and that's pretty much the same storyline for right-hander Cole Gidley, who gets the nod for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. We're typically going to see him rely on his 2-seamer, using that 68% of the time. This is going to be Cole's first outing against the Unicorns. Comes in with an ERA of 8.18 this so far this season, through 11 innings of work where he's walked 12 batters and struck out 13.
Talked a little bit about the wild and wacky game that we had yesterday. It went 8 before the time limit expired, and the Beavers able to snatch a late run in the top of the 8th inning to tie the game at that point. In the end, there were a few more scored, 1 in the 8th by the Beavers, 1 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th, 1 in the 9th for the Mammoths, and 2 in the bottom of the 10th inning in the end to walk it off. Logan Herring had a pretty good day. You were able to catch up with him after the game yesterday. He's a guy that we've been waiting on to kind of turn it on, and he has of late.
Yeah, absolutely. It was exciting, especially for Herring, given that we just talked about it. We've seen his power at the plate, and for that to pull through has been really exciting. Even, for his first at-bat of the game, he had that hard line out to deep left center. So just to see him kind of find his place in the batter's box has been exciting.
Flag on the field, getting ready for the home team to be announced here at Jimmy John's Field. In terms of the other particulars of yesterday, 2 good ones starting, 2 aces probably now with the situation that has, with guys being signed and taken away. Malik Barrington no longer with the Beavers, and Jackson Hicks no longer with the Westside Woolly Mammoths. So is A.J. Coleman getting the start for the Beavers, and Greg Lokinen for the Mammoths. 2 guys that battled control and command early on, but both were kind of able to work themselves back into form like aces do, and in the end kind of straighten out their outings. Hancock, on the other hand, getting some time for the Mammoths. Rogers coming in, and Ledbetter for the Mammoths in the end. Donovan getting some big time out of the bullpen. 2 2/3 innings, 3 hits, given up 1 run. It was unearned. Cole Stanton also working 2 innings. And that's important to look at both Donovan and Stanton coming into play here today, because those are 2 guys that can give you some length, especially Donovan, who's a former starter. But talking to Ed Campanella and talking to Donovan, I didn't get a chance to catch up with Cole Stanton, but Ed pretty much said, look, if we need an emergency inning from either one of those guys, it could happen, especially for Cole Stanton if we're in a save situation. They were the other night, wasn't able to nail it down in the end, but it could be an interesting situation for the Beavers if this gets to be another long game. And you look at, kind of who is left on Ed Campanella's squad as well. A.J. Coleman obviously out. Donovan likely out like we just talked about. Jake Kinney did not throw yesterday, or just 1 inning, I beg your pardon. And then Ed Cuevas did not throw. So you're talking, we need some length here from Cole Gidley and really Miguel Sereno on the other hand, because Jack Ferguson threw a number of innings the other day. Mark Dozier threw an inning. Brandon Krenrich started the game on Wednesday throwing 2 innings, and Zach Jones will likely start later in the week on Sunday. So that's kind of where all these teams are with the pitching. It's a little bit of unprecedented in terms of the amount of games for the next 4 weeks in a row. 4 Wednesday through Sunday rotation starting this week and heading into the first couple weeks of August. The Ponchos are out. Starting lineups has been announced, but it looks like we'll start baseball on time as they've taken that tarp off the pitcher's mound. We'll have first pitch when we get back here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
About the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Well, a beautiful night for baseball temperature-wise. 74 degrees and cloudy here at game time. Hopeful that the rain stay away. Nothing too substantial before the game as Miguel Sereno takes the mound on time. Four-seam change-up slider main for Miguel as he stands at 6'1", the 190-pound right-hander out of Puerto Rico.
You know, Jeremy, we talked about this before heading into the broadcast. You haven't heard the story yet about Sereno. So, back in the day, his dad is a big baseball fan, really wanted Miguel to play, but he didn't really find interest in the sport yet. So, one day, I can't remember the situation, but Miguel was pretty upset, so he went to the ocean and started to throw coconuts. And he was chucking the coconuts, and he's like, wait, this is kind of fun. So then he went to his dad and said, hey, I'm ready to play ball now.
Huh.
So that's kind of the story about how Miguel fell in love with baseball. It came from chucking coconuts.
That's pretty cool. And one, if he does certainly continue to climb the baseball ladder, I'm sure that will catch fire at some point. First pitch at 7:10 Eastern Time. The fastball zinged in at 91 miles an hour.
I like that, zinged. Haven't heard that yet.
And that's what these two guys will do. Some of the better velocity guys in the league in terms of Sereno and Gidley. Took something off with the changeup there as it's whittled foul by Lynch. Sereno comes into today with an average fastball of 92. A couple starts ago, it was just 91, as we see already with the rain that's tacked down some of the dirt here today. Sereno has to use that tool to get it out. That's a little bit of a different one. Kind of like a hairbrush or something down there, but usually like one of those tongue depressor type things. As Lynch looks at one outside, 1-2. Sereno, another guy that likes to work quickly. We've talked about it in the past, kind of off here with Shane McCaddy and Justin Orenduff, the two pitching gurus here in the USPBL. They like guys that work quickly because that means they have rhythm, number one, and also have a set routine in between pitches. We heard Shane talk about that yesterday in terms of a guy that's moved on to the Minnesota Twins organization. And Velez, he was a guy that started very slow in his first outing. Then outing two, they sped him up, and he was moving much more quickly.
Well, someone who comes to mind when you're talking about getting in that sense of timing and working quickly, I really think of Greg Lokinen, because the other night when he was getting the start, it seemed as though he had his glove up ready to go before the batter was ready in the box.
Here's the 2-2. Golfed on the ground. Curiel can't quite get it, and Keyshawn Lynch trying to get in a bit of a groove. 1 for 5 yesterday with a late double. Sometimes it's just that one that gets you rolling.
That was nice effort by Lynch in the box, obviously getting a good hold of that ball there. It seems as though he has been able to string some hits together lately, as you've noted earlier, but for him, especially in that leadoff spot, it's so crucial for him to get on base, currently with an OBP of 243, and you know, it's just so clutch to have Bagneski now in that second spot here, and as we can see, he can really do some damage when he steps into the box.
10 for 20 to begin his professional career thus far. Changeup that runs in at 85.
Been here for a short time, but already leading the league with a 500 average and 643 on base percentage. But even so, it's a short sample size, he's getting the job done consistently. There's a lot to like about Bagneski when it comes to his speed. Not only does that work for him offensively, but as well as defensively. He's got that power bat, power arm, high baseball IQ.
Sereno holds an extra beat here. Another changeup, his third of the game already, sparked it at 86. Was diving into the changeup a bit on both of these starting pitchers. Both very successful pitches. Sereno throws it 27% of the time. Batter's hitting just .097 against it, 3 for 31 so far this year. Runner in motion, the 0-2, in for strike 3. Looking for a strike him out, throw him out, not quite. As Lynch dives in for stolen base number 6.
And that changeup, Jeremy, is so key going up against left-handed batters. So far this season, Miguel Sereno has used that just over 41% of the time while he's versing lefties.
So a rare strikeout for Bagneski. It's 8 walks to just 2 strikeouts so far in his 29 plate appearances. Christian LeBoy up with a runner in scoring position as he takes a big hack at it. Sereno along with Pinchman and Finney. In the end, having to take charge as everyone was kind of looking at each other a couple times for the second out. Check the rest of the defense surrounding Sereno here today, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. It's Luska in left, Galassi back to the center field position, Johnson in right, Childress and Pinchman on the corners, Hodo and Curiel make your double play combination here today, and Jordan Finney completing the battery. Malik Blaze no longer in the league, so that pretty much opens up the spot for Hodo and Curiel each game if everything remains the same. 2 on the bench today for the Beavers, Anthony Jones and Ryan Ray, 2 guys that wouldn't really play in the infield. That's the catching for Ryan. 0-1 shattered that bat, my goodness, into a million pieces. And Sereno says, wow, I'm glad that missed me. He might just take that bat
Well,
as a souvenir.
Well, he's glad the ball didn't miss him. Look at that. Out number 3.
Well, how about that? Leadoff single, nothing becomes of it after the stolen base by Keyshawn Lynch as well. Time to send it to Chelsea.
Night for baseball, but it's time for JJ, the field general. He's sitting right here with me, presented by Thrifty Florist. He found a very, very special fan in the stands today to get this beautiful bouquet of roses to, and her name is Linda. So she has one lucky fan presented by JJ, these beautiful flowers by Thrifty. Johnny, back to you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Tossing it back to the public address system here today. More after this on the USPBL Network.
Attention, Michigan, there is absolutely no need to drive all over town searching for new flooring. When the Carpet Guys will come to your house on your schedule, we'll bring our store to your door so you can shop in the comfort and privacy of your own home. And you'll love our huge selection. Buy right now with interest-free financing for up to 4 years. You can carpet your entire home for as little as $11.99 per month. Let the Carpet Guys take the stress out of buying new flooring. Call for a free in-house shopping experience today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855 for my guys.
Well, those type of plays, at least for Miguel Sereno, stick in your mind. Number 1, you see the bat splinters coming at you. Number 2, the ball all of a sudden in your glove, and Miguel makes the play. Obviously, you don't want to see the reverse happening, having that hit you or something else, because it might make you tentative, but he makes a nice play to end the first inning and strand the leadoff single in Keyshawn Lynch. And now Cole Gidley will try to take over here. Go ahead, Jenna.
Oh, no, and just going back to Miguel Sereno, we talked about it earlier. He retired Connor Bagneski with that strikeout, but Miguel is definitely someone who does his homework. He stayed up late last night watching that 10-inning game, so he's someone who does his homework, gets his scouting in, so he comes in with a game plan when it comes to attacking the strike zone.
Now there's rain coming down at a harder clip. Kind of surprised to see this at this moment here. Let's try to take a peek at our radar. Yeah, it's just a mini blip. It's literally around Utica area here in Metro Detroit. There's little blips kind of all around the area in Macomb Township and Washington Township here, but that really shouldn't last very long as it nothing else comes. It looks like there's another line of bigger showers coming at 10, but that should dodge us at the moment.
Jeremy Otto, play-by-play meteorologist.
Is this how they do it? Is this what they do to try to determine the weather?
Think you found your calling. Nah, just kidding. This is it for sure.
Frankie Luska, Colby Johnson, Drew Galassi, your Zach Hart agency men on deck here in the first. It's kind of fun when they do the Winter Classic in hockey outdoors. We'll have Jim Cantori out there doing his weather reports. That would be kind of a fun gig for one day. Why not? Sign me up.
Yeah, and you've been talking about you've been wanting to get back into hockey a little bit, right?
True, yes. Haven't been able to do it much. 0-1 is shifted foul, the fastball there at 92. Hockey is a different animal, though, just like baseball. A lot of people don't want to do it because there's so much time to fill, but hockey, there's no time to fill. It's the action in front of you.
Yeah, during Game 5, I was kind of messing around like, oh, how would I break down that? And I couldn't even get it in. I was like, what just happened? What was the penalty?
It has to be very succinct in between plays. The 0-2 from Gidley, pumped back to the screen. So it is an elevated ERA for Gidley coming into play here today. He's thrown 11 innings, 8.18. But you look at FIP, which kind of erases fielding and just focuses right in on what you can control as a pitcher. It's much lower, 547, so still higher than you would want it to be, but a sign that he's kind of been unlucky in terms of the defense behind him as Frankie Leska looks at a ball, 1-2. Leska just takes a close pitch there outside.
You know, that is interesting when you're saying that it does involve the defense that's behind him, because this is the team with some of their starters. They're used to have to constantly being ready for the ball to come, especially thinking of A.J. Coleman, who has, you know, induces ground balls most of the time rather than strikeouts.
And how about Frankie Leska here? Down in the count well deep, and now he's worked it back to full.
Leska is a pro when it comes to drawing walks, leading the league right now with 22.
Everybody back on the infield with no outs here, nobody on, and that will change. There's 23 for Frankie Leska.
And this is why I have my pink pen and my black pen.
Check the defense behind Cole Gidley here today, brought to you by AAA. It's Verdejo, Bagneski, LeBoy, left to right in the outfield, Williams Jr. and McFarland on the corners. Mercedes and Lynch trying to turn the double plays here today, and Tyler Blom getting the starts in back-to-back days behind the dish. It was Austin Shoemaker yesterday. Colby Johnson looks at strike one at 91 miles an hour. So you trying the two colors with the runners on base? Is that what you mean?
Well, I'm trying, but now I can't find. There's my black pen.
Leska ranging off of first. Snap throw there by Blom, looking for McFarland just off the bag. The rain has tapered off a bit more, still coming down. Fans have not been scared off yet. Breaking ball by Gidley, buried low, 1-2. 68% fastball for Cole, 21% changeup, and 10.5% curveball coming into the game tonight. His fastball on average has had a bit more spin than the curveball so far, but that one was above average before that 91-mile-an-hour fastball blows by Colby Johnson.
Nice to see Gidley start to get back in a groove after that walk to Leska.
We've talked about Cole Gidley in and out of the starting rotation. This is his third straight, or make it his fourth straight start for the Beavers this year. His last just a 2 1/3 inning outing where he gave up 2 hits and 3 earned runs. 46 pitches later, Drew Galassi looks at strike one. Drew looking to kind of check himself a bit as he has struggled to hit home runs of late. 0-1 away. He told me before the game that he's been swinging a bit too big, trying to get back to that 50% swing and not get behind in counts that he's felt has allowed him to chase more pitches than he would have liked going forward. I think he's already looked himself in the last couple games, not so much in the power department, but just kind of taking things where they are for him.
And that just goes to show how mentally taxing the game of baseball can be, because it seems at some point you can be on top of the world, but there's always some minor tweaks you can be making to your swing, falling into bad habits, or just having to switch that mindset. But regardless of all that, I mean, his numbers are still pretty much sitting atop of the league.
Ooh, late dashing move as Luska lunged back. And that jersey is going to need some Clorox after the game.
I think you need a little bit of a Tide to go today, Jeremy. Spilling beans.
Yeah, what in the world? That was horrible. Looks like I missed some spot as I tried to spot treat that, but I think these are out the window after the game here today. Fly ball to left center, Bagneski. It's actually Verdejo who will take it in left for out number 2.
We've talked about it before. Communication is very outfield. Over here, we probably would have thought that would have been Bagneski's, but Roy finds himself to set himself up in a position to get it easily.
So now Noah Childress, the last opportunity here in the first inning. Big rip at the 91-mile-an-hour fastball. That's right where he's been pretty much all this first inning. And 2 miles an hour over his average. Came in at 89 on average, up to 93. Crowd buzzing after that one went into the stands as he loops it close to the third base bag, but foul. So Gidley quickly getting ahead of Childress. And he got ahead of Frankie Luska as well before the leadoff walk, but Frankie just used his pinpoint eye to get on base. The 0-2. Blocked well by Blom. No wind hardly at all, at least according to the flags here today. That American flag in right center is limp. The pennants out and left are moving a little bit, but there you see the sad flag here today. Curveball low. And really wind for the last couple of weeks hasn't been a factor, which is surprising because normally, especially in a week like this where we have Wednesday through Sunday games, you'd see it at least 2-3 times blowing out most of the time.
You know, you touched on it before, Jeremy. When we look at Luxka's at bat, and now with Noah Childress, Gidley has been able to get ahead in the count, but he's not able to throw those competitive pitches with 2 strikes. We can see here he's been away on Childress, down in the zone, and it's going to be very crucial to find your command and pinpoint that location to make sure that you're having an efficient outing, especially going up against players who give professional at-bats like Luska and Childress.
Runner moving with 2 outs here as Luska heads to second base, and that leads to back-to-back walks in the first. Now Nick Oltz with a chance to extend this inning, the designated hitter.
Olch is the designated hitter for good reason. Right now has a batting average of .312, and we've been talking about this before, Jeremy, with this stat, which is super fun, the batted on balls in play. Did I say that right?
Batting average on balls in play.
Batting average, dang it. Anyways, it's all right, but that is .556 right now, so he's making solid contact, but those are just typically resulting in hard outs, hitting it right to someone. We'll get there, Jeremy. It's a process. We're trying, though.
There's a lot of stats that you can swallow yourself into before a game.
Stats, score, red pen, black pen, so much going on.
0-1 in for strike 2. I just ordered some green ones before the game today.
I like that. It kind of matches your vibe right now. Green shirt, too.
Yep.
You do wear green a lot, don't you?
I'm a green fan, yeah.
Green fan. Michigan State fan?
You know, I'm one that doesn't subscribe to really either, as stupid as that sounds, and everybody makes fun of me for it here in the state, but 0-2 pounded back to the screen. I've done a little bit of work for the University of Michigan, so maybe tainted that way a bit.
No, it's not stupid. I mean, the rivalry itself can get pretty toxic. I'm a Michigan fan, so, you know, just had to check. make sure that I can continue to do play-by-play and color with you moving forward here in the USPBL. So you're safe.
Pass the test. The 0-2 really would love to erase him right here. First changeup, I believe, by Gidley here today is inside. The 1-2. Again pounded back to the screen. The oohs and ahs were not because that ball was hit in play. It was because it was nearly in a couple of fans' faces back here. Off the screen. Golf to a perfect spot. It's going to plate Frankie Lusker around the third base bag, and tripping and falling is Childress because of the wet track. Mercedes doesn't realize it. In the end, they are able to tag him out. And Jim Essien is out to argue. Did he get tripped by somebody out there defensively? I don't know. He's going to bring the umpires together here.
Hope Childress is all right. You can see him still lingering around third base there. A little bit of a limp, but walking it off.
Section is 103.
But you can see there with Gidley, he just left it a little sweet over the plate there for Olds to get a good hold of.
Well, confusing end to this first inning, but a run does score. 1-0 Unicorns here in the USPBL network.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council. I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Miguel Sereno on the mound trying to get that dirt out of his cleats. Here to begin the second inning. Today's game presented by MMI Door. And I thank MMI Door for my fine free pen. You know, when you get free pens, sometimes you just want to throw them in the garbage. But this is a heavy one. Feel it.
Wow.
It's nice. It's
I like the weight of it.
Yes. It's kind of comfortable resting spot for your
Yeah.
hand there.
You know, just thinking about Miguel Sereno dialing it back a couple of weeks, I still am so astonished at the thought of how he volunteered to start with less than 5 minutes to warm up for the game. And that was a pretty exciting performance that he put on. I believe he was our Autolab post-game interview for that day. But he's someone, he definitely has that endurance. And, you know, I can't imagine throwing, not having too much time to warm up.
Slider inside. And Miguel said Jim Essien came to the pitching staff and said, I have a late withdrawal here in terms of our starting pitcher. Who wants to pitch? And Miguel says, I'm doing it. I want the ball.
Yeah, and he got to keep the ball after that outing as well. I mean, I go over to speed pitch and throw without warming up, and I'm icing my shoulder the next day. Goodness.
Now the 1-1. Fastball away. 2-1 on McFarland. Generally, when you talk about a changeup, it has much less spin than any other pitch, a fastball or a curveball. But Sereno is a bit different, nearly 2,200, which is well above the average for a fastball here in the USPBL, as that hits Travis McFarland. Usually change-ups around 1,800 or so. So not only is it literally a change of speeds, but a change of spin, usually for guys. Is there still rain? It's really hard to tell when it's falling just slightly here.
I don't believe so. I feel like I can't see any sprinkles, really. Also just fortunate to be in the booth
True.
when there is a chance of rain, but...
First pitch to Ron Williams Jr. is low. All the fans have kind of stayed in their place. A few ponchos and makeshift umbrellas with your clothes kind of over the head, but that's about it. Everybody has remained where they are. And what's a good Friday crowd here today. You know, last year, Dan Griesbaum and I started the season literally calling the game in the stands because we've never had this big of a production. So literally on our left, where broadcasters had been in the past here at the USPBL, is taken up by a graphics operator, a producer, a director, sometimes more, camera person as well at times, depending on where our high home camera is. So we're to the right, pretty much in Mike Zielinski's office space. Justin Orenduff, Shane McCaddy, they'd normally sit where we are. We're right next to the analytical data. Here's the 1-0 to Ron Williams Jr., so that shifted foul. So it's a good problem to have in terms of this year, knowing that we couldn't be down there. But we knew we couldn't be down there, and everybody made fun of us for it, but we were hunching over in the stands and our backs hurt after games. And we're like, we're just sitting here.
I have the worst posture when calling games. Look
Yeah.
like a boomerang right now. Ugh.
Pinchman in front of the runner at first base as Ron Williams Jr. swings and misses at the changeup there.
We've talked about it before. It is very key as a pitcher to be able to utilize your changeup, especially when it's a lefty on righty matchup.
One hit on the board for each team. That was back in the first inning. A hit by pitch has reached to begin the second against Sereno. 91-mile-an-hour fastball straightens him up, 2-2. It's right where the fastballs have been really for both pitchers today on average.
You know, Jeremy, maybe instead of us singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game, we can sing Rain, Rain, Go Away.
Sure.
Might be able to switch it up. Or you can
You
just
going to
sing.
start? You can kick it off right now. 3, 2, 1.
No, our good friend who left the comment yesterday brought me back down to earth.
Yes.
You know, some people just shouldn't sing. And I am one of those people, unfortunately.
See, that's the thing. You know, I can talk in front of people all I want, but singing in front of people, I'm going to go hide, usually. That's why we can do it behind a wall here or a screen. 3-2, popped him up. That's going to screech its way out of play. Three and two on Ron Williams Jr. Sereno didn't really struggle with falling behind hitters because they were swinging quickly. He got a 0-2 strikeout to Bagneski and a couple first pitch outs to end the first. That one roped, foul again. One line to the others. That's by A.J. Coleman, the first base coach here today.
You know, with Ron Williams Jr., his average isn't necessarily where we'd like to see it, but his on-base percentage is pretty impressive given that it's 377. So if he's just able to get the ball and play more, I can see that getting up here soon.
Pokes the best fastball of the day back to the screen, 92 from Miguel.
And the longer the at-bat goes, most of the time you're going to see that it plays to the fortune of the batter instead of the pitcher here at the 3-2 count. Some foul balls.
Collier Rutledge on deck, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency with no outs to begin the second. Here's another 3-2. Tough pitch to take. The changeup busts him inside. And Miguel Sereno, hands on the hips, wondering where that was. Jordan Finney catching the pitches here tonight for Miguel. We've seen a lot of catchers in the fold recently for the Unicorns. Ryan Ray has seen a couple times out there in the last few weeks. Frankie Luska had, 3 or 4 games in a row where he was catching when he was in the lineup. Back out in left field here tonight. First pitch fastball. Collier Rutledge looks at strike one.
Rutledge is definitely starting to find more of a groove. Last night he was 3 for 5, 2 strikeouts, but given games past, it's nice to see him start to piece together hits during his at-bats.
Here's the 0-1. Another change-up, lifted foul. 2.25 ERA for Miguel Sereno. 5 starts to his credit now and 11 overall appearances. Stares down McFarland at second. On the ground to Hodo. Feeds to second. Curiel finishes off the twin killing there. Advances the leadoff runner McFarland down to third with 2 outs here in the second with Mercedes coming up now.
Nice double play, and what a stretch by Pitchman over at first base. Just makes it that much easier for the pitcher here. 2 outs.
And those guys, knowing the margin for error was pretty slim on that play. It wasn't hit extremely hard. Hodo didn't panic, though. Got it cleanly, fed it to second base as Curiel skimmed the bag and threw a strong throw over to Pinchman, who was able to stretch it out. Nafi Mercedes comes into this game hitting 200. That one in for strike one. Tyler Blom, your Zach Hart Agency man on deck. He is the bottom of the order here tonight. Nice righty-on-righty matchup for Sereno. Change up high.
Similar to Rutledge, Mercedes is someone who's slowly starting to piece together hits as well. So it just goes to show that there is power and there are professional at-bats throughout this lineup. It's just more of a matter of fact of finding that groove and getting into your rhythm here in the pros.
Finney held the 91-mile-an-hour fastball on the corner, but called the ball 3-1. Second 3-ball count of the inning for Sereno here. Did not have one back in the first inning. That's a big pitch. Doesn't want to walk him. He doesn't. Gets him to pop it up high in the air. Pinchman getting over right away. And behind the first base coaching box, able to snag the third out. Hit by pitch, walk, 4-6-3 double play, and a pop out to first base, the line against Sereno here in the second.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
Jeremy Otto and Jenna Rose back with you here on the USPBL Network. A reminder, you can chime in with us on Facebook and YouTube. Maybe you have a question about something in the league or about tonight's game, some of the players out there here today, or just want to shout out from wherever you may be watching from here today. Angela Harris, Giselda Gonzalez, Sandra, Guillermo, all checking in here today. So we thank you all for tuning in here today. Donovan Curiel, John Pickman, Jordan Finney, your Zach Hart Agency 3-men due up in the second inning against Cole Gidley.
There's talent throughout this Utica Unicorns lineup, but what I'm looking for specifically from Gidley during this outing, we could tell during the first that he was really struggling with 2 strikes on batters, and we saw that with Frankie Luxka and Noah Childress, who predominantly we know to have professional at-bats. For him, pitches with 2 strikes is going to be key in order to be efficient.
Yeah, 2-3-2 counts to Luska and Childress, who were able to really work themselves back into competition. Curiel spoils the fastball back to the screen. And walks have been an issue for Gidley in his starts. 11 walks to 8 strikeouts. On the season, 12 walks to 12 Ks. So that surmounts to a high and nearly elite K per 9 of 11, but a 10 walk per 9 as well. One big rip again, in on the hands. And if Gidley continues to start, you really wouldn't expect those numbers and that trend to continue. I know the coaching staff is enthused about what he's been showing lately, and it doesn't all attribute to numbers. Way in. Curiel hits the deck.
Quick reaction there by Curiel. That's always a little scary because, you know, you're always taught if you know that you're about to get hit by a pitch, you turn in your front shoulder to make sure you're getting hit in the back, but I can't imagine how quick you got to move when it's coming near your head like that.
Curiel winning in the 2-2. Here it comes. Fastball away. You could see him lunging at it and watching it all the way into the glove of Tyler Blom. Here's the full count delivery. Spoiled off again. Curiel frustrated he couldn't get a piece of that one. There you see Connor Bagneski. We've seen a number of center fielders play pretty shallow this year. Celaya has been that way all year long as well. Bagneski has cut down the playing time of Elijah a bit. 3-2, got a piece. Lynch going to be a tough play with a speedy Curiel. Not going to get him. Infield base hit for Donovan, and he continues what's been a good stretch in his last 6 games or so.
That just goes to show why he's such a dominating force. While he plays shortstop, he has the range and he has that speed. So to have him on base in this situation, especially with Pitchman coming up to bat, who has been making a splash here in the USPBL after his last start the other day.
19 home runs in college. He's a big guy. Not in a bad way either. I mean, just built.
I didn't think he meant it in a bad way. But no, absolutely. His first hit, again, we talked about it. It was that hard line out in deep left field. He was intentionally walked the next at-bat with runners on. So he was kind of saying, hey, McConnell played me before, so he might have let the staff know that he's able to come up in clutch situations.
But you watch him take batting practice. It's an impressive show. He banged it off the top of the scoreboard in batting practice here today. Leaning is Curiel a bit. Scurries back as quickly as he got to first base. No runs off 1 hit and no errors for the Beavers early on in this one. 1 run off 2 hits and no errors for the Unicorns thus far. A hit an inning to go along with a walk, 2 of them in the first. And pitchman just behind the fastball a couple times by Gidley in this at-bat. Middle of the infield looking for the double play. McFarland holding on the runner at first, and now Gidley will step off. See if he goes with the changeup here. 0-2. No, it's the fastball. Waved at and miss. Pitchman may be guessing something else as he was way behind it. That's when he probably lays off more often than not, but that's the second strikeout for Cole Gidley, and the first out in the second.
You could see there an swing was like, trying to reach out just to get a hold of it.
The margin for error on a pitch like that, not going to be really able to hold up if you've started your swing. Bluffing is Curiel at first. He remains back there.
That just goes to show every time you're stepping up into the box that you have to make sure you have a mix of a to predict what's coming next. Especially against a pitcher who may have a deceptive delivery with different pitches.
1-0, fastball away. Two 2-0 on Finney now. John Hodo, your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the second. Curiel with an infield single to begin it. Finney takes a big cut. 6 for 29 to begin his USPBL career this year. Kind of limited at bats because he'll hit near the bottom in that catching position. But they love his defense. We hear it over and over. One of the best catchers, or if not the best catcher in this league. That one floats into center. Curiel gets back up, but with Bagneski playing fairly shallow, he got to it quickly. And he will also need a jersey wash after this game.
No, a lot of them will, but you could even see Nefi Mercedes there, heads up, trying to make it seem as though he had the ball in his hand, in his glove, rather to make sure that he wasn't stepping too far off the bag. Man, can't talk today. A lot of pauses.
3-1. Fastball low. And Finney, more than anybody, is going to know that strike zone here today.
It's one of my favorite matchups when you see a catcher go up against a pitcher, but you know, Jeremy, this brings up another note, totally irrelevant to the broadcast, but I've been meaning to put together like a broadcasting bag, so when I go out, like one of the things I'd want to have is tied to go. Or just like snack or makeup remover or just extra pens, whiteout, you know?
The whiteout is key.
Yes.
Got to get the whiteout.
As you hold it in your hand.
We're not talking the old-fashioned, you know, with the brush and you dip it in like paint. It's called the Easy Correct, is what I have here, I guess.
You're a man of the times, Jeremy.
What would you call this? A whiteout tape, I guess? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I like it. I feel like I always screw up, though, when I use these sometimes. Like, I won't get it.
It takes a minute to get used to, sure does.
I don't know. My technique's a little off. But, you know, I don't really make mistakes when I write.
Oh,
so
wow.
I don't really use it. No, I'm just kidding. Says me who can only get through the first, 4 innings of a baseball game in my scorebook.
I had one in that last at-bat there to Finney. 1-0 to John Hodo. Infield single, strikeout walk. The line against Gidley so far here in the second. Way ahead now, 2-0.
Hodo hitting .226 on the season, but we've been talking about this with the tail end of the Beavers lineup. Hodo has been able to start to string together more hits as of late, recording 5 in the last 4 games played.
Off the glove of Blom, going to allow both runners to advance with less than 2 outs here. And with the leadoff hitter lurking, the walk machine himself, who already has one and scored on it in the first. The top of the order, Frankie Luska. This is not looking so pretty for Cole Gidley, and we've talked about it already. They want length from Gidley here tonight just because of the pitching situation they're in. .30 is grooved in for strike one. Most pitches that Gidley has had was 3 appearances ago, 76, followed by a 62. Outside, he walked him.
You know, Jeremy, I was making the joke that I don't make mistakes. I didn't put the beginning here, the second, like, in the next space. It still looks like it's in the first. Dropping the ball here.
Well, if any of you are keeping score at home here today, that's already the 4th walk of the game for Gidley, pushing his starting total to 15 walks and 10 strikeouts. Luska says no, that's outside. Just confirming that that was a good take there by him.
Well, no, I mean, just heading into this situation, we've already talked about it. Luxka leads the league in drawing walks at this point, so he's someone that you don't want up in the box when you're pitching with bases loaded.
Fly ball to center. Bagneski calling for it. Tagging is Curiel. Here comes the launch by Bagneski, and he's just going to throw it to third. Wow. Head of steam by Curiel, making sure there was no shot to throw out the speedy runner from third.
Well, we talked about it earlier with center fielders playing a bit more shallow than they normally would, but that would have given Bagneski the opportunity to throw home. However, you know the speed that Curiel possesses when he's at third base. So it's just important to get the ball in and get a good read on it.
7th RBI of the year for Luska. The 11th run scored by Curiel makes it a 2-zip game. A run an inning thus far, and another critical block by Blom. Gidley having trouble commanding the fastball currently here. A pitch that he throws 68% of the time. High 2-0, struck out Colby Johnson back in the first inning. That was in a 1-2 pitch. So kind of reviewing where the bullpen stands for the Beavers. 2-0 line into center field. They're going to chance it. Going around third base is Finney. He will slide and score. Looking to advance another base. Blom didn't locate the baseball right away. Gidley has to go back and get it. And it's 3-0 Unicorns now. So put it into the book as a single and an extra base for Colby Johnson. Also his 7th RBI of the. He stands on second. Hodo on third. Go ahead.
My bad, Jeremy. No, Bagneski coming through with the do or die, but as we saw, just a little bit off center, throwing it into home.
That was Cuevas maybe thinking about warming up or just stretching out a bit. Donovan, they don't really want to use him here today. 2 2/3 innings on the mound last night. Cole Stanton, 2 innings on the mound. Not often that you get a back-to-back here in the USPBL, but that's what the Beavers had. Dozier also throwing an inning. Or that's for the Unicorns, I beg your pardon. Cole, a factor as he started last night and threw 4 1/3. So it could be an interesting situation from Ed Campanella. We heard some whispers that if he was in deep trouble in terms of this game and pitching, we may see Austin Shoemaker on the mound at some point. He has a knuckleball and a fastball. the normal catcher, obviously, for this Beavers team, as Galassi lunges at that one and spoils off a tough 0-2 pitch.
Well, if it does come down to that point, I mean, it is a bit advantageous given that as a catcher, he knows these opposing batters pretty well. I mean, execution is another half of it when you step onto the mound, but it's good to know that you have different resources to pull from in that situation.
Well, good luck to your fellow catcher in that instance, and Tyler Blom with the knuckleball, always been one of the toughest pitches to catch. Even over time, you've seen some guys, some catchers use different gloves to catch the knuckle. I think I remember hearing that from a Red Sox catcher. Maybe it was Veritek when he was catching Tim Wakefield back in the day. There's some knuckleballers that have exclusive catchers. Inside to Drew Galassi.
Yeah, definitely getting close to Galassi there, but it's just that case of really trying to hit your spots with 2 strikes. And Gidley's struggling, and I'm struggling to talk.
1-2 on Galassi. Runner on second base and third. He with 2 already in, and another good hack. So you Google Tim Wakefield catcher, Doug Mirabelli comes up. Says, while with the Red Sox, he was well known as the personal catcher for the knuckleballer. So that's interesting. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, curveball in the dirt. Got Galassi to chase. Strikeout number 3 is a huge one for Cole Gidley. He strands 2 more runners in scoring position. 3 runs in, a run in the first and 2 here in the second for the Corns.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Three base runners allowed by Miguel Sereno so far in this game. A single in the first, a hit by pitch in the second, and a walk. Good job of the defense to erase that one off a ground ball to the right side. 4-6-3, John Hodo, Curiel, and Pitchman getting a pair outs when he really needed it. I mean, that was a hit by pitch to begin the inning, and then a walk to Ron Williams Jr. McFarland able to advance to third, but then Mercedes popped out to end the mini threats. And now Miguel Sereno looking to make some quick work of this Beavers lineup. He has a pretty good pad right now at a 3-0 lead thanks to his offense. First pitch to Tyler Blom, in for strike one, the fastball at 90.
It's always encouraging as a pitcher to know that your team has your back, not only defensively, but also offensively, to get runs on the board.
Blom acquired in a trade with the Joliet Slammers in the Frontier League, sending a fellow pitcher from the Unicorns over to Joliet. 1-1 high. That name escaping me right now.
Blom comes into this game only hitting .125 against right-handed pitchers.
It's Keon Taylor, thanks to Matt Snyder there. 2-1. Again, punch foul, 90-mile-an-hour fastball sent the opposite way. So Tara Hodo, obviously not a Jamaican, or she doesn't live there full time, obviously, but she says greetings from Jamaica here today. Go Hodo, go Unicorn, so that's cool. Not sure if we've ever had somebody in Jamaica watching. I know we have a viewer from Mexico at the moment. Andrew Sasula says he's at the game, so hello, Andrew. Come wave at us in the press box.
Can you see him? I saw
No.
your wave, Jeremy.
I was doing the parade wave.
Oh, the parade
Yes.
wave. Right. Blom just fouling one off inside.
Here's the 3-2. Boy, again, trying to pound it inside and hung up long enough for Pitchman. A little slip and slide on the edge of the grass, and he makes the catch for the first down.
Well, that's something that you have to do with those fly balls or pop-ups where you're not necessarily sure where it's going to land, but changing your eye level, knowing to get down on the knees. I mean, I'm assuming he didn't slip, but who knows? It was sprinkling a little bit out there.
First pitch to Keyshawn Lynch is whittled off. Terry King comments, hello from Chandler, Arizona. Would love to see Austin Shoemaker pitch again. That would be fun to see the knuckleballer out there. I don't think Ed Campanella wants to see that, because in this scenario that would mean that his team is losing and or in a worse off pitching position than they already are right now. But Two and one on Keyshawn. He had a single bank in the first, also stole the base before 3 straight outs were recorded in a row. Now the 2-1. Outside. And again, the dirt in the cleats has been an issue, especially for Miguel, it seems, so far in this one. There was some rain earlier that's kind of dissipated, just a light sprinkle. That can be enough. Wow, hot shot right back at him. Did that hit him this time? We saw a broken bat that literally floated into the glove of Miguel Sereno, kind of surprised on 2 occasions. Number 1, that the bat missed him, and number 2, that the ball found him.
Well, getting a bit of a jump scare there. You can see that Keyshawn Lynch did hit it hard back up the middle, but we also saw Sereno trying to work him a little bit outside, given that that first line drive hit was set into left field. So trying to avoid that pull side going on that righty-on-righty matchup.
And how about that for Keyshawn, Jenna? 96 miles an hour off the bat. I mean, that's, you look at last night, was that his last at bat? No, it was second to last, but regardless, he had a nice double down the third base line in the 7th yesterday before extra innings, and then the hard hit in the first and another one here in the third. Checked his swing as that pitch rains outside, 1-0.
And I really like this adjustment in the lineup to have Bagneski coming up after Lynch. They could be quite the tandem here for the Beavers.
1-0, right through the 5-hole that time. Hodo and Curiel. Ooh, that is not going to record a single out. Little miscommunication there as both were going towards the second base bag. And in the end, everybody's safe. How do you score that one? Just an odd play. You don't see it very often. Went through the legs of Hodo, and it looks like, or of Sereno, I beg your pardon. Hodo kind of collided knees with Curiel.
Right.
And now runners on first and second.
So I think instead of touching the bag, he ended up bumping into his shortstop there.
On the ground, just fouled on the third baseline. LeBoy trying to sneak in another one, had his 6-game hitting streak snapped yesterday. Popped up and is at bat in the first.
The last time he faced the Unicorns in that doubleheader previously, he was 4 for 6, so he's no stranger for putting the ball in play against the Unicorns.
0-1, fastball away. 1-1 on LeBoy now. Chad Sweet commenting on Facebook, wanted to attend tonight, but had to work real early in the morning. Hard to pass up overtime dollars. We hear you, Chad. Hope to see you at a game soon, maybe tomorrow after your shift is over. It is a doubleheader, in fact. 1-2 on Christian LeBoy, and we've received a text as well from our executive producer, Jeremiah Hergod, who says it's standing room only here tonight. Fans are still entering the ballpark. Now you can see him kind of streaming into the grandstands to the right side. One, two, high and away, 2-2.
On the note of the fans, it is such an exciting aspect to bring here into the USPBL. The fan engagement here is absolutely insane. I love when I go down for the post-game interview, seeing all the kids crowded around the dugouts trying to get autographs. It's a very family-friendly environment, and I'm sure it just adds that much more excitement here for the players.
Did they ever ask you for your autograph down there?
No, but really funny story. I had my notebook down there with me because I was, just keeping track of the game because, as you know, things can change at the drop of a hat. And a little boy looks at me and he goes, "Are you a scout?" And I said, "Well, no, I'm not." And I was like, "I'm a reporter." And I said, "Not as cool, but, And he's like, no, that's still up there. But, kudos for him for, hey, girls can be scouts too.
There you go. Well, we saw the all-female broadcast team the other day. Was that for the Orioles?
Yes, Orioles versus the Tampa Bay Rays. That was pretty exciting. I'm a huge fan of Sarah Langs. I follow her on Twitter. She always just finds the craziest stats. Yep, Matt Schneider here giving the pointer, which always amazes me when people can just navigate those sites so cleanly. I mean, I can't remember his name, but there's a YouTuber that, I've watched now and again, and he just finds the craziest stats on how well pitchers pitch, on one day of the year. Maybe that's not a really cool one. I thought it was cool. I think he was saying that Mike Trout has his best days, like, on July? Oh, there we go. Jeremy now following Sarah Langs.
Looks like she's chiming in with some Shohei Ohtani stats of late here. Have to dive into that later. 2-2 on LeBoy. He continues to battle here in the third, with just one out and runners on first and second. Way away. Credit to Finney for lunging out and getting that one. Roy Verdejo, your Zach Hart agency man, on deck here in the third. Some elongated innings by these batters. They've battled against these pitchers here tonight, drawn a decent amount of walks. Sereno has only surrendered one to this point. 4 on the other side for Cole Gidley. And the Unicorns have cashed in for 3 runs based on those 4 walks thus far.
Sereno so far today really trying to work those right-handed batters outside.
Holds it for an extra beat here. The full count delivery away with the changeup, and the pond is full of ducks here in the third inning.
Sereno does have, in retrospect, when we look at home plate, you have about 23 inches to work with given the strike zone, so he's just really having a hard time finding that outside edge.
Still not a lot of throwing action going on. Guys contemplating whether they may be summoned. They've all gotten up, at least to get the blood flowing, if we want to overanalyze. First pitch to Roy Verdejo, the fastball high at 92. Verdejo quickly the 5th batter to come to the plate in the 3rd inning, the most that Sereno has faced thus far. Perfect ball for Hodo, turns to second, over to first! Pitchman can't scoop it, 1 around to score, here's the second! And just like that, it's a 3-2 game.
We could see there, given the way the ground ball was, there wasn't that miscommunication there when it came to trying to move that double play, but all you can do on that fumble, do your best to get it to home as fast as you can. I was going to make a note earlier during that All-Star game. We have seen Sereno work his way out of some sticky situations. Previously, I believe he was able to work his way out of an inning where there were no outs, yet bases were loaded.
Can't assume a double play, so there's no error on that play. Just a out and the fielder's choice, and now the umpires will come together and just check to make sure they both have the out count right, and it is in fact 2. PJ Gradowski, our director, contemplating maybe Curiel missed second base in that scenario, but everything will remain the same here in the 3rd inning. Righty on righty matchup. First pitch to McFarland, 91 for strike 1. Pretty good changeup there. I think Sereno was hoping for strike 2, asking for where the pitch was. Certainly a harder changeup, but he has success with it. Another fastball high at 91. The changeup that averages 85 coming to the plate. Has topped out at 88 this year. But we told you the numbers, 3 for 31 coming into play today for batters. Now the 2-1. Fastball in, 90 miles an hour there.
McFarland is a batter that you do not want to throw inside. He's quite pole side heavy, has the ability to generate power with his lower half.
Hit by a pitch in that 2nd inning, a bat that we're still waiting to really get going on an all-around level. 4 home runs early on in the year, hasn't hit one in a while. This will be just as good to extend the inning here in the 3rd. And now Ron Williams Jr. will look to keep it moving as well. He's the 7th man to the plate. It's been a pretty cloudy, overcast day compared to what it's been lately here in the Metro Detroit area. We saw a few showers poke its way through, but it looks like a fairly clear radar right now. We hope it remains that way.
Right now against Williams Jr. would be an opportune time for Sereno's changeup.
Does go with the fastball inside. Has had a bit more trouble commanding that as the game has gone on. You know it's a big crowd when you see fans weaving and bobbing to try to get back to their seats, the beer in hand, the popcorn, trying not to make it fall, the pops. There's Ryan Ray actually making his way to the bullpen. Golf down the right field line, just sneaking foul, hoping to draw chalk, was Ron there.
Ooh, that had to be a sigh of relief for Sereno on the mound, seeing that ball just fall foul.
And if you haven't been with us for the last couple weeks, you think, Ryan Ray, is that kind of a desperation move? No, the Unicorns aren't in as bad a shape, I guess, as the Beavers in terms of their bullpen. They used a few less arms the other day. Ryan Ray expected to see some more time on the mound. He pitched in the non-public game last week, averaged 91. We hear there might be 93, 94 in the tank. You could see more Ryan Ray in the pitching department. 2-1 on Ron Williams Jr. now. Pop out, single, fielder's choice, walk, fielder's choice, single. The line against Sereno here in the third. 2 runs already in. 2-1, swing and a miss, fastball at 90. Two-run scoring on what could have been the double play to end the inning. Just got past Pitchman, who couldn't scoop it over at first. And the odd play earlier where Hodo and Curiel kind of ran into each other and what could have been a look at another double play as well. Pumping the fastball at 92. Smarks inside. 74 pitches, the high for Sereno. That was in his last start. He's already at 72, so this may be his last batter and or last inning at the least. Runners moving, swing and a miss. Williams Jr. goes down, but the Beavers just finding a way to scratch across runs these days. Make it 3-2. That's your Fifth Third Bank. Fifth third out of the game. Now time for JJ the Water Boy, presented by Michigan First Credit Union here today. There's JJ as he comes out to the base pass umpire here. Now time for your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot here today. And down to Chelsea we go.
But Lancelot over here was telling me he's kind of tired. And Grayson's really competitive. So Lancelot, I'm going to give you a little head start. So Lancelot, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Grayson, you ready, bud? Go. Go get him. I know, Lancelot has a little pep in his step today. But Grayson's rounding second. Oh, this is going to be close. I don't know, Lancelot, Grayson's coming. All right, fans, cheer Grayson. He's coming home. Go, Grayson. There you go, bud. Nice job.
Thanks, Chelsea. That's your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot here today. Jeremy Otto alongside Jenna Rose to bring you the call here tonight. Glad you could tune in on a fine Friday for some baseball here today. What day is it anyway? Started on a Wednesday. We're not used to starting on Wednesdays here, but we'll get used to that for the next 3 weeks in a row here.
You know, Jeremy, I am a little bit fearful. I forgot to bring my jacket in with me. It's going to get, not sure if it's going to get a little chilly here later tonight.
So you saying that you want me to close the window? Is that
no,
your subtle?
No, that was not my subtle. I would not be subtle about it if that was the move. I might just take one of the ones that are on the back of the door there. I don't think anyone really uses those anyways. They'll just be watching the post game later and say, hey, is that my jacket?
Gidley is out for a third inning of work. He'll face the heart of the order, brought to you by Zancard Agency. It's Noah Childress, Nick Olch, and Donovan Curiel.
Similar to Sereno, Gidley is doing his best to navigate his way to commanding that fastball.
Yeah, maybe not the tightest matchup like we kind of thought it might be here tonight, with Gidley improving and Sereno. Just how he's been this year, entering play today with a 2.50 ERA and a 7 K/9 ratio.
That does call to mind, though, your comment earlier about how not everything is reflected in the stats, that the staff has been happy with his improvements because it just comes down to little tweaks as outings go on and what you're doing behind the scenes before every game.
First pitch to Childress, golfed on the pitch inside. And especially in this league, sometimes it's hard to differentiate, and it's going to vary player by player, whether they really try to work on those tweaks in the game, because it is a developmental league, I guess more open to that maybe than other places, or are they just looking to throw it in the bullpen before the game, throw it in between their starts, and then implement it. I think more often than not, that's the way guys want to go, because in the end of the line, these guys are competitive and they want their stats to be meaningful as well and reflect their body of work. And ouch. Ay. That one's straight flush in the left hand for Noah Childress. And you hate to think about it, but Juan Lopez Rios had a very similar one. You don't want to speculate what that could mean for Childress, but he's in some pain. He's kept Juan out for a good amount of time, the best hitter for the Hoppers before going down in the non-public game the other day. He might have to come out of this game. Kind of reading the body language of Jim Essien. Yep, pointing to the dugout. He has, well, he had Ryan Ray on the bench. He's been throwing. So not sure if he would use him. Anthony Jones, the player who's going to come out right now. So Jones will give some speed to the base pass. I'm guessing that Jim will have to kind of juggle his team defensively. Boy, you hope that Childress is okay. And it's not a long-term thing. Brings up Nick Olch as well. So now Essien down to one player on the bench here. And he might have to forget about bringing in Ryan Ray because, I mean, you wouldn't think Ryan Ray would pitch the rest of the game. And then if you take him out, you're out of bench players, literally. Besides your other pitching staff, Mercedes to second, over to first. Can't quite turn it. They say McFarland was off the bag. So one out, and Donovan Curiel will come up. Glad to see he was okay after the collision with Hodo. It seemed that Hodo took it a bit more harder in terms of, the collision they had.
Yeah, a couple of injuries here today. Didn't Childress get a little choked up when he was heading down to third earlier?
Yes, he did, yep. This one pumped back to the screen, 0-2, or 0-1, I beg your pardon, quickly on Curiel. Bagneski in center, playing him to the right of the second base bag and way in. He's played most guys pretty in today in center field as that one reaches outside, 1-1.
And that's something you can be comfortable doing, giving, especially Bagneski speed out there patrolling center field. He can get to the ball, and he can whip it in pretty fast.
Away from Curiel as Olch advances his way to second.
Both Gidley and Sereno struggling to find the strike zone here today at Jimmy John's.
You wonder what Jim Essien is going to do defensively. I could see maybe Luska coming into the infield somewhere. Two-1 is high. Ooh, but called a strike, I beg your pardon. Late call on the curveball that time. Two-two, swing and a miss. Second out here in the third. really sure what other positions John Pitchman could play, so that could fall into play if Jim wants to move guys around. Pitchman obviously just getting here. Had his first game the other day, was 1 for 3. Struck out back in the second inning swinging. Lynch, high hop, had to get that glove up there quickly and just able to edge out Pinchman over at first base. No damage done on a couple base runners against Gidley here in the third. Still 3-2 Unicorns.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough, let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart, to your heart.
We're the financial champion of Michiganders. Whether you're a goal-getter or dream chaser, an empty nester, or up-and-comer, anyone in Michigan can bank with us. Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union.
Time for your Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Facts here today. Jackie Robinson on this day became the first, missed it. On this day in 1995, Miguel Indurain won his 5th straight Tour de France. And your third one is coming up in a minute as we rely on the scoreboard. Unless I missed the first one. I think I might have missed the first one.
Have you seen that video? I don't think it was Tour de France, but it was some sort of bike race. I don't even know what to call them. Is that what you call it, a race, competition?
Cycling?
Oh, there's a long one.
There you go. On this day in 1996, Gary Strug clinched the gold medal for the U.S. women's gymnastics team in the vault on an injured ankle at the Summer Olympics in Atlanta. It was the first ever gold medal for a U.S. women's gymnastic team.
But going back to the random story that adds zero value to the broadcast, have you seen it where someone reached out with a sign and it knocked over the entire line of bikes? Can you imagine being that person?
I heard about it. I did not see it.
Offsets an entire competition in that fashion. Man.
Did he do it on purpose or no?
I think he was just trying to lean in for the camera to show his sign, and it nicked one of the bikers, and they all just fell down like dominoes.
Well, Ryan Ray actually will come into this game. So I guess if Essien needs another substitution, he'll have to get in one of his pitchers, unless Ryan Ray really plays hero here and throws however many innings we play here tonight. I mean, on this pace, we probably won't get to 9 within the 2.5-hour time limit. Oh, and 2 on Collier Rutledge. Curveball there from Ryan Way. Fastball, slider, curveball. This one pumped on the ground to Hodo. Kind of wrapped up his glove, and Rutledge will reach to begin the 4th.
Good effort by Hodo in those situations. Sometimes you just have to use your body to block that shot, get it down in front of you, and make sure it doesn't go into the outfield. Now, how much of that was on purpose, I'm not really sure, because you want to make sure you get it with your glove, but at the end it does become fortuitous.
So Ryan Ray did pitch a couple times in college this year, but not anything where it was consistently. Really trying it out for the first time. USPBL recognizing his arm, and he hasn't thrown under 91 so far in this game. And maybe realizing that this is more of his path. He struggled at the plate so far this year. behind the plate, a pretty solid catcher, has a good arm for obvious reasons, you see. Just translating in a different way here, and a curveball that has above average spin, at least for the USPBL, but right there for major leagues as well with 2,500 on that last one. Gathering with the 0-2. Short lead for Rutledge over at first, and he barely gets a piece of that one. It is a foul ball as everybody ran just in case, as you're taught to do when you see a ball in the dirt. Oh, I beg your pardon. That was a strikeout. Occupied base allowed him to not run to first base, so I beg your pardon for that. Rutledge did the right thing, so did Mercedes, but now Tyler Blom will look to continue things and possibly plate the tying run here in the fourth inning. It's just a weird flow to this game, isn't it?
Gosh, get your head in the game, Jeremy.
Doesn't feel like it's a 3-2 game right now. It feels like the Unicorns still have a fairly commanding lead, but I guess that's pointing to how the Beavers scored their 2 runs. It was a play that could have been a double play. The second opportunity that the Unicorns defense had in that third inning, but instead it played 2 runs as it got away from the first baseman Pinchman. 1-1 on the Beaver catcher. Still nobody throwing for Birmingham Bloomfield at the moment. Curveball slotted inside.
Something that I really enjoyed yesterday that you mentioned, Jeremy, was when you talked to Greg Lokinen that even though his velocity wasn't necessarily up there, he would throw his pitches with conviction. And I can kind of see that same vibe here from Ray. While not necessarily overwhelming batters with his velocity, it seems as though he's not too far off the plate when he's trying to hit the strike zone. And I feel like it is, it can be threatening to opposing batters when you're coming in with confidence. And he's someone that this Beavers lineup hasn't seen.
89 inside. And right now it's simple mechanics, something you'd probably expect from a guy who hasn't pitched a ton. And I'm sure that Shane McCaddy and Justin Orenduff will work on some things with him if this is exactly what he continued to do, pitch a lot.
Seems very moldable because with that as well, he haven't tired out his arm so much over time trying to be a pitcher, right?
Yep, that's a big exclamation point for scouts. They love to see guys like that, especially who pitch well. I mean, look at a guy like Anthony Gose. Is he still trying to in the minor leagues? A former outfielder for the Tigers. He was trying to convert to being a pitcher. He was throwing 100 miles an hour at one point. And that was in the minor league system. That's not an indie ball. Connor Bagneski, the 2-hole hitter, is back up. You hate to see him at any point in the game, but with 2 outs, maybe breathe a sigh of relief if you can get him out here. Curveball snaps in at 74. So a consistent 91 on the fastball, 74 on the curveball. And that's probably our first slider that we've seen from him. 79 in the dirt, 1-1. Bagneski reached on a fielder's choice back in the third. He was one of the 2 Beavers to score in that inning. Big arcing swing and a miss at the curveball there. Snapped it onto second. It beat him. It was a bit looping, and in the process, Rutledge able to dive back in safely. Christian LeBoy, your Zach Hart agency man on deck in the fourth. Everybody back in the infield and outfield with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Ryan Ray faces just 2 base runners in this inning and is able to surrender 2 strikeouts as well. It's still 3-2 Unicorns.
New flooring from the Carpet Guys is as easy as 1, 2, free. 1, just call the Carpet Guys for fast, free, and home shopping. 2, get massive warehouse direct savings. And 3, I mean free, as in 4 years of interest-free financing. That's 1, 2, free, but only for a limited time. So be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS or visit carpetguys.com today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the 9th and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the 9th, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
Landslide, I don't know, bud. They got a little bit more swag than you do. All right, fans, this is it. It's going to be up to you guys. Should we give it to Landslide? Or should we give it to my friends over there in section 107? Let's hear it. Oh, man, Landslide, I'm sorry, but I think there's a little bit more cheers for the kids over in section 107. Maybe next time, Landslide.
Well, there you go. It's a dance-off. I know we cut in the middle of it, but Lance was doing the Dougie there along with those young kids on the other side of the stadium.
Man, Lancelot is taking some major L's here tonight. Can't win in the kids' race, can't win in the dance-off.
That's what happens, you know. You want to be a mascot. It's not an easy life. Jordan Finney, John Hodo, Frankie Luska, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up in the 4th inning. Cole Gidley is still out there for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. After a run given up in the 1st and 2 in the 2nd, he worked a fairly quick 3rd inning. Leadoff hit by pitch. Childress got drilled in the hand. And I apologize that we did not reset the defensive alignment. Kind of slipped my mind in the last half, so we'll have to do that when the Unicorns are back out there. Nonetheless, some changes as Jones had to come in for Childress after being hit. We hope that Childress isn't on the block, injury block for too long here. Fastball at 89. Finney swings through it. Greg Shanahan starting to tune up for the Unicorns.
Talked about it before. I always enjoy seeing those pitcher versus catcher matchups. We've already seen Finney Zai at the plate drawing a walk already here today at Jimmy John's.
The rain all of a sudden comes down again. As Finney looks at it low. Ed Cuevas also throwing now for the Beavers. Some fans starting to scramble and trying to use whatever they can to cover themselves a bit here. Finney walked and is only at bat in the 2nd, also scored. 2-1. Change up in for strike 2. Couple times in this game, these pitchers have had to deal with the rain, and the batters as well, obviously. 2-2, dusts him off on the outside corner. Finney, who knows the strike zone better than anybody else besides him and Tyler Blom, doesn't love the call. 1 up and 1 down in the 4th.
Gidley's starting to execute on 2 strikes now, Jeremy, so hopefully that's something that he can build on here heading into the bottom of the 4th.
Strikeout number 4 for Cole here tonight. John Hodo also walked. That was a back-to-back walk scenario for Gidley. The infield single started the rally for the Unicorns. A sacrifice fly by Luska scored the second run, and then an RBI single by Colby Johnson plated the third, and at that point, it was a 3-0 lead. The Beavers struck back a bit later for 2 on a ball that escaped the first baseman, Pinchman. The 0-2, fastball high. One and 2 on Hodo. Frankie Luska, the top of the order, looming. 2 productive at bats so far for him. Fouled off a tough pitch.
It's been interesting in conversations with Willie Martin. I feel like we've brought him up, a lot of times in previous broadcasts, but, not necessarily always reflecting on batting averages. It's more about producing those quality at-bats or having productive at-bats, and it seems as though Hodo has been able to do that in the tail end of his performances lately. You can see here fouling off pitches, been able to get on base, drawing a walk.
Trying to keep that bat dry. Drying it under his sleeve every other pitch or so. Gidley trying to do the same on the mound with the baseball. We'll try a 1-2 again. Curveball. Lost a bit of zip as it went inside. 2-2. Hodo out there at second base, his primary position since arriving to the USPBL last year. Able to work the count back to 3-2.
It's a position that Gidley has found himself in a couple of times during this outing, and no stranger to Hodo, drawing the walk previously.
The 3-2 again, outside. So 2 walks and 2 at-bats, or plate appearances, I guess you'd have to say, for John Hodo here today. Some speed back on the base pass. And now Frankie Luska trying to do it again. Walk and a run scored in the first. Sacrifice fly and an RBI in the second, and that might be the end of the line for Gidley, or is it just a talking to here from Ed Campanella? Ed Cuevas continues to warm. It's a go get him, Gidley, here. At least for now. Probably wouldn't let this inning be labored too long.
Luska is not the batter that you want to face when you're trying to get back into your groove. We've already talked about it. He has that strong ability to draw walks. He has a power bat, the ability to send it to all fields, and really just a threat.
Yeah, pretty far split in terms of where he hits the ball when it reaches the outfield. 33% to left, the opposite way for him. 44% to center and 22% to right. John Dombrowski, one of the player development guys in the league and the co-manager of the Mammoths, works a lot with him before games and in the workouts on going the opposite way. And what do you know? He's ahead in the count again at 1-0. Drew his 23rd walk of the year back in the first. That's off the glove and enough for Hodo to prowl down to second base.
Luska is certainly someone that you do not want to fall behind in the count against. We talked about it before. Hodo has that speed out at second base. Luska looking to add an extra run here for the Unicorns to boost that lead.
5 walks for Gidley so far in this game. He's lost a bit on the fastball velocity as that one is in at 84 for strike 1. Hodo on second base with 1 out, trying to pad this 3-2 lead. Fly ball grooved to right center field. Bagneski backpedaling, will snatch it. Hodo tagging, and he'll easily get to third base.
You know, for a second, Jeremy, Luxka got me. I thought that might have gone out of the park. He has that power. We talked about it before, the ability to send it to all fields, working on finding that opposite power. But, I mean, gets the job done. You want to advance the base runner.
I'm with you. He hit it well off the bat, maybe hit it a bit too high for the way the sky is playing here today. There was a slight wind before the last couple pitches. It was blowing out to left center field that has now died down, so maybe counteracting along with the rain here today. And now that's got to be it for Cole Gidley, as it's the second mound visit. And Ed Cuevas will make an appearance. He subs in with 2 outs in the 4th. Colby Johnson due up. We'll check Cuevas' numbers when we get back here on the USPBL Network.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Ed Cuevas taking over in the mound here for Cole Gidley with 2 outs in the 4th inning, trying to get a power bat out with the runner on third base, and Colby Johnson, the 11th appearance for Cuevas, 15 1/3 innings of work, a 2.94 ERA. Johnson has already driven in a run back in the 2nd. It was the 3rd and most recent run by the Unicorns in this one.
Opposing batters are hitting 164 against Cuevas. Looking in his arsenal, he throws his changeup a lot, thrown just a tad over 50% of the time. Average velocity sits around 80 miles per hour. We'll go to his 2-seam fastball in tandem with that changeup. Average velocity is just around 87 miles per hour, can top out just under 90, and every now and then incorporating that slider. Not seen too much, but
Colby Johnson steps up again, also struck out in the 1st to go with his RBI single the very next inning in that 2nd. The lights are on here at the ballpark and have kind of played a factor all game. That off the glove of Tyler Blom, but Hodo not biting. Johnson, Galassi, Childress, 2, 3, 4. In the lineup today for Jim Essien. Here's a 1-0 from Ed. Shuttered back into the glove. Throws the changeup more than the two-seam fastball coming into today. 50% of the time, 49 on the change. Changeup that averages 80 miles an hour. His fastball around 87. Has the movement of a breaking ball. Another guy that has some spin on his changeup. We talked about that earlier from Sereno as well. The 1-2 off the glove again, but Blom able to get a piece of the glove on that one. He's had a tough night so far here today, having to go down quite a bit.
Johnson looking to notch his second hit of the game. Already had that RBI single, 1 strikeout.
Wow, there's the changeup slicing its way into the hands of the right-handed batter in Colby Johnson. And just like that, Cuevas is able to bury this inning and keep the runner on third base, hoping for his offense to catch up. Well, you could win $250 plus 4 front-row tickets to the USPBL Championship game in September. Text Chevy Detroit right now to 555-888. Again, that's Chevy Detroit to 555-888. Visit ChevyDetroit.com/USPBL for all the official rules of that contest. Time for your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers race here today. The cars are itching to start tonight, out of the gate early. Let's see who takes it. Corey Vett off to a decent start. Bella Air along that right side. There's Petey Pickup, though, toe-to-toe with Corey Vett. Here they come along the stretch run. Have to get past the third base bag. Corey Vett is going to cruise to a victory here today in your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers mascot race. On a wet track here today. How about that? Well, when it's time for baseball, it's time for bells. We love enjoying a USPBL game with an Oberon, a two-hearted ale. Here's to a great season. Bell's Brewery, Comstock, Michigan. Please drink responsibly. Ryan Ray threw 1 inning, 2 strikeouts out of the bullpen in relief of Miguel Sereno back in the 4th inning. Gave up a hit and a walk, and another pitching change here. Greg Shanahan taking over on the mound. Shanahan, another guy that has split some time between starting and relieving. This will be his 12th appearance of the year, making that 9 out of the bullpen as well. 19 1/3 innings of work. 6.53 ERA to this point. Well, today's game presented by MMI Door. This 5th inning sponsored by Fifth Third Bank here today. So let's reset that defense as some changes were made. And actually it looks like Anthony Jones is playing third. So it looks like a straight-up change for Noah Childress. Curiel still at short. Hodo at second. Pitchman over at first. Luska in left. Galassi in center. And Johnson in right. Have mostly seen Anthony Jones play outfield to this point. Fly ball to left field. Christian LeBoy sending back Luska, still wheeling, back to the track, to the wall, crashes in, can't make the catch. And just like that, LeBoy standing on second base. Boy, that was an odd ball. Luska thought it wouldn't even reach the warning track and then realized, I got to get back. There is a slight wind blowing in that direction to left center field here. But after LeBoy had his 6-game hitting streak snapped last night off a 0 for 5 day, able to get a skying double to lead things off in the 5th with the Beavers still in a position to try to tie up this game. A scheduled 9-inning contest here tonight if it fits within the realm of 2.5 hours, as Greg Shanahan will call Jordan Finney out to the mound here. We talked about it. Jordan Finney considered one of the best catchers in this league in terms of pitch framing and what he can do to try to steal strikes for the guys on the mound. I was able to catch up with him before the game. Gave a lot of credit to his coaches on the travel side of things when he was 10 all the way up to the end of his high school career. Played with the Bulldogs here in Michigan as Campanella makes a nice snare down the third base line there. Said Taylor Jellikowski has also helped him out a lot, converted him to that one knee type of receiving approach that Jelly learned in the minor leagues. 0-1 tipped into the glove. 0-2 on Roy Verdejo. Jellikowski learning from the same catching coach that Gary Sanchez learned from when he switched things over and became one of the worst receivers to one of the better receivers in the MLB. Luska against the line for out number 1. And Travis McFarland trying to continue his solid day. Hit by pitch and a single so far in this game here tonight. First pitch to well to the air in left field. Again, Luska having to come in. Sprawls and made that catch. After the stop, drop, and roll. Ed Campanella arguing that maybe he... Or wait. What did they rule that? McFarland standing on first base. And it looks like they say he did not make the catch. Well, it did look like it hit the deck, I guess. Wow, tough to tell out there as I take a look at our replay and the YouTube monitor here. Unfortunately, you can't see it, but Ron Williams Jr. golfs it foul. Take a peek at your USPBL standings brought to you by Scott's. We had a commenter on the YouTube stream asking what the Unicorns' record is. There it is, 14-6. The Mammoths trying to sneak up. Real big win for them in extra innings by that same number, 10-9. How about that? 0-1 is low. We talked about that earlier. Coleman and Lokinen starting the game, going fairly deep. In terms of the pitch count, 94 for Lokinen, 78 for A.J. Coleman. He has, I think, like 5 straight starts now with 70 or more pitches, so you're starting to see these pitchers go deeper and deeper as they feel comfortable and are stretched out more. Donovan threw 65 himself in relief. Boy, I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, but both of them kind of lost their groove a little bit, we saw during the second inning where it was tied at 3 apiece, but were able to work their way back.
And you look at the card from yesterday, Lokinen, after what was a 7-batter second, had a 1-2-3 bid in the third and worked 2 4-batter innings without any more runs scoring. Coleman also had a elongated 7-batter inning in the second, which plated 3 runs, came back, faced the minimum in the third, had a 1-2-3 inning in the fourth. Did uncork a 9-batter inning in the fifth, which in the end lifted him for Donovan. And some unfortunate defense for Donovan, allowed a couple runs to score in that inning, but other than that for him, he was really able to seal off a couple good innings. 1-2-3 the very next in the seventh, and a bunt single was all he allowed in the eighth. Second out as Williams Jr. Ks here in the fifth.
You know, it's always interesting the way that the season has been unwinding previously. You know, there's a time limit before certain days you can only go to a certain amount of innings. So to really see these games start to play out now at this point in the season, it's cool to see how each team is kind of able to bounce back, who's able to make the comebacks, get the ball in play. And I mean, for the Beavers, just to see that extra base power with a lineup that struggled earlier in the season, it's been profitable.
First pitch to Collier Rutledge, flubbed right to Shanahan. Little underhand hook for the third out here in the fifth inning. Game stays right where it is. We're halted at 3-2.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. To your heart.
Welcome back to the USPBL Network. We have Edgar Cuevas back out on the mound for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. We touched on it previously, before we went into break, talking about that extra base power that was displayed by the Beavers last night. Christian LeBoy able to bounce back with a double of his own. We saw plenty of those the other night, but good for LeBoy given that he was 0 for 3 during that stretch coming into today's game. I believe had a strikeout and now able to tally that power, or excuse me, that was a foul ball that got him out previously in today's game. But power is potent throughout that Beavers lineup, just getting into that stretch now where they're starting to find that groove with their bats. Here at the bottom of the fifth, that brings up Drew Galassi. He has been one of the stars here for the USPBL. Brings in a lot of attention, and he absolutely dominates at the plate. Currently leads the league. He's #1 in runs, hits, home runs, RBI, and slugging percentage. Really only one of the downsides has been the amount of strikeouts that he's had so far this season.
There's a ground ball to the right side. Mercedes for the first out here in the fifth.
We've seen 20 strikeouts from Galassi so far. Good to see him get the ball in play, find the barrel to the ball.
Noah Childress was supposed to hit in this spot. Unfortunately hit flush in the hand in his last at-bat, so Jones taking over for him on the base pass. Now getting his first at-bat while also playing third base. Oh, 1. Popped him up, McFarland. Wow, what a play. Made it look pretty easy, but you have the ball very high. Able to make the nice over-the-shoulder catch.
You know, I was just about to say that Jones is someone that you don't necessarily want to pitch inside. He's slated as a pull hitter, but you can see they're trying to work it the opposite way. Just couldn't get a good hold of it.
Lefty on lefty. Carves him inside with the fastball here for strike one. Olch with a single in the first. Fielder's choice in the third. Fastball again, sparks inside at 88. Olch with his 6th hit of the year back in the first inning. Quev, what are you cooking twice here in the 5th inning? Two and one on the designated hitter here today for the Unicorns. Change up away. Or maybe that was just a lower velocity two-seam, looks like it.
Well, it's almost 50-50 at this point with the amount that he uses his changeup. Pretty up there.
We saw that play well for a strikeout to end the 4th. His only batter that he faced, and able to work a 1-2-3 inning, all via the contact here in the 5th inning. 4-3, pop out, and another 3.
When people keep repeating that you'll never fall in love, when everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. To your heart.
Only at your Chevrolet certified service dealer do you get tires engineered specifically for your vehicle and a price match guarantee.
With our tire price match guarantee, if you find a better price within 30 days of purchase, we'll refund the difference. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Welcome back, Jack Ferguson now throwing for the Unicorns here. We've seen Cuevas come in for Gidley, and now Ferguson for Shanahan. So Shanahan goes just 1 inning, allowed a double to lead off the 5th, and then a single. Got Ron Williams Jr. to strike out, and Collier Rutledge to ground out. He'll face Nafi Mercedes, Tyler Blom, and Lynch here in the 6th.
Ferguson with 11 innings of work under his belt. 1 earned, 3 walks. 10 strikeouts, an ERA of .82. Typically what you'll see from Ferguson is that two-seam fastball in combination with his slider. His average velocity on that two-seamer sits at around 86, 88 miles per hour. We'll also sprinkle in that changeup every now and then, which drops down to about 76.
So Jack Ferguson, the lefty, giving a bit of a different look here. Sereno, Ray, Shanahan, and now Ferguson. Mercedes rifles this to Curiel. A little off the mark, but Pinchman is able to recover. 1 up and 1 down.
Smooth fielding there by Mercedes, just comes down to the throw, but hey, get the out, you get the out.
Tyler Blom had a walk back in the 4th inning. Also popped out in the 3rd. That was over to Pinchman, who made a nice sliding play, kind of over his shoulder. Ferguson will average the fastball only around 86, but because he's coming from this angle, very effective, especially against left-handed hitters for a obvious reason. This arm slot really tough on righties or lefties, really, as Luska sees this one step in front of him. That's hit number 7 for the Beavers here tonight. They have out-hit the Unicorns by double figure, more than that, 7-3 right now.
Nice work there by Blom to get the ball in play. Hard hit over to left field. They're a threat. We've talked about it already. As you mentioned, Jeremy. I almost said Jason. As you mentioned, Jeremy.
They both start with J, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Out hitting the Unicorns 7-3. But it all comes down to having that ability to manufacture runs and produce runs.
That's Brandon Krenrich tuning up now. He started the other day as an opener through 2 innings of perfect baseball. 0-1, fastball away at 87.
Lynch having a day himself, 2 for 3 with 2 singles. Someone who has the speed to earn that leadoff spot and now starting to fall into a rhythm every time he steps into the box to do some damage.
Ferguson has only given up 1 earned run this season. That was in his first outing versus the Beavers all the way back on June 24th. So that's now 6 outings in a row without an earned run. Not many walks in that mixture as well, just 3 compared to 10 Ks. The 1-2 in for strike 3. Lynch doesn't love it. It's the first strikeout for Ferguson here tonight and the 11th of the year. And now Connor Bagneski, the last shot to try to put together a rally here in the 6th inning. Christian LeBoy on deck. He hit a towering double to left field his last time up. That caught Luska off guard. He had to backpedal quickly and crash into the wall. .86-mile-an-hour fastball high and away.
Bit of an uncharacteristic outing for Bagneski today. Still doing well, 1 for 3 at the plate, but 2 strikeouts, 1 swinging and 1 looking. I believe only having 1 K heading into today, Jeremy.
Yep, exactly right. 1 K to 8 walks. 6 stolen bases. He's not been able to add to that. You just kind of assume when he gets on, if there's nobody in front of him, he's going to have a decent shot to try to get a stolen base. 2-0. Wow. It's a tough slider in general, but to a lefty, got to be really tough.
You know, just on the note of Bagneski and those wheels, he stole 2nd and 3rd last night.
2-1 lifted foul. 3 of the, what is it now? 5 hits allowed by Jack Ferguson have been on the fastball. He's kept hitters to a 1 for 10 clip on the slider. The 2-2 runner pitch to throw on for Jordan Finney, just didn't get a good grip on it.
Yeah, just fall sets him up for that transition with the pop and throw. Still amazed at how long catchers can stay in that position for. I can't imagine being a catcher.
It's got to take some type of, grunt work and time to get used to it and not hurt after every game. I'm sure they still do to a certain extent. 3-2 on Bagneski.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how many catchers in this league drop down to one knee for their catching style. I believe most being taught that coming in.
Yeah, and the thing is, I talked to John Dombrowski. He's one of the guys that helps with that, along with Taylor Jellikowski, obviously having experience, and Taylor as a player doing so. It's not something they, say, hey, you have to do it heading in, but it's shown and encouraged, and then if you do it, it's a nice pat on the back and say, yeah, I think they think it's the better way to go. More athletic, you're able to be, according to John Dombrowski, able to block balls easier. And that's, I think, what kind of gauging their reactions, what some guys maybe don't believe, is that, maybe it's going to impact their throw or their ability to do what they need to do behind the plate. To a perfect spot in left center field past Galassi. They'll send Blom all the way around. He will score easily and back to a tie score.
Bagneski certainly has that clutch gene coming in here today. I mean, we've seen it already displayed in a short time here in the USPBL, but we could see he was finding his barrel to the ball, fouling off a couple, but right then and there, as you said, dropped in the perfect spot in left center to advance the runner and get an RBI single.
So now the question is, you have a guy maybe a little bit slower to the plate in Jack Ferguson. You have a guy who's stole 6 bases already. He is the untying run, so maybe you got to be a bit more careful with it with the lefty on the mound. Do you think about running Connor here?
I mean, seems as though Bagneski usually has the green light.
We'll see if he does go. Ferguson thinking just that. 6 for 6 on stolen base attempts so far this year. Fastball inside 87, 2-0 on Christian LeBoy. Roy Verdejo, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. Modest lead for Bagneski. The 2-0 punch foul.
Ferguson trying to work LeBoy inside. LeBoy already 1 for 2 on the day with a walk. We talked about it before, snapping a 6-game hitting streak. Entering yesterday's game 0 for 3, but seemingly finding his groove here today against the Unicorns.
Chop to third base. Jones handles it well. Overthrows John Pitchman. A lot of room over there. This might score another run. Bagneski speeding his way around third base. Coming home the throw. Not in time. Connor Bagneski. Show off your wheels, young man.
Bagneski has that high IQ. When he sees an opportunity, he's going to go seize it, and he has the speed to back it up. We could see there rounding third base. He was going full force for home plate. Now taking the lead 4-3 against the Unicorns.
And on top of that, Christian LeBoy ends up on third base. My goodness. An E5 turns into what feels like a triple and a lead here in the 6th inning. And Jenna, there's just a different feel. I mean, you even felt it last night. Obviously, it's an unfortunate loss for the Beavers. They've lost a couple in extra innings later on in this season, but they just seem more confident up there. And given, more often than not, that's an out, but still. Heads up base running by Bagneski. He goes from first to home, knowing territory. Verdejo right back to Ferguson. And an unfortunate inning for him. Gives up a pair of runs. All of a sudden, the Beavers have a 4-3 lead in this one. Back with more after this on the USPBL Network.
Only at your Chevrolet certified service dealer do you get tires engineered specifically for your vehicle and a price match guarantee. With our tire price match guarantee, if you find a better price within 30 days of purchase, we'll refund the difference. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Shake it off here at the ballpark. The staff getting into it as they normally do on the field here. Ed Cuevas pitches with a lead. He's in line for the win potentially here today if his team can hold on to this game. Coming in for Cole Gidley, and quietly, Jenna, he's got to be right up there in terms of a player of the game candidate as well. He was able to strand a runner on third base coming in for Gidley in the fourth. Struck out Johnson, a good hitter. Got 3, 4, 5 out, all via the contact. 4-3, pop out 4-3. And he'll try to strand some more base runners or not see any more so here in the sixth.
I'm still just so fascinated by the fact that he's primarily operating on that changeup statistically heading into today.
Curiel had an infield single back in the second, came around to score, and then the strikeout. That fastball at 88 outside. Seems like we've seen a bit more fastball than change. He got that strikeout to end the fourth on his. Back with nobody on and no outs to begin the sixth inning, with the exception of Bagneski playing to the left side of the second base bag in center field and in. 2-0. Change up outside, but called a strike. 2-1 on Donovan. Cuevas working quickly. Boy, there's a hot shot down the third base line for a base hit. Curiel, always quick out of the box, thinks about heading his way to second base.
Man, quick out of the box. Quick driving that ball to left field. Got a good read on it inside. And again, speed to match on the base paths. Definitely a threat. Could be advantageous given what we've seen from Pitchman so far in his first outing yesterday. Or the day before, I believe. We're getting a little fuddled up here at this point in the week.
Spot for the first professional home run. Hit 19 of them in college. Strikeout, ground out tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely been fouling off a lot of balls, so that's how you know he's just right there waiting to explode.
0-1 golfed over the head of Lynch into left center field. Curiel checks in at second base, and all of a sudden, first and second to begin the sixth inning for the Unicorns.
Man, again, short period of time for Pitchman here in the USPBL, but he's done some damage. He has some hard outs and intentionally walked the other day. I still can't get over that. Just makes such a statement about a player. You can already see he has the stature, talking about the 19 home runs in college, and someone who can easily make a name for himself through the upcoming games here in the league.
cool night. You can feel the slight breeze. Also a smell of campfire kind of levitating into the press box as well.
Ooh.
Get the s'mores out. Who's ever got that fire going? Maybe we'll head there after the game here.
I could smash a few s'mores right now. Sounds good.
Might wake us all up a bit, too. This one high and away to Jordan Finney. 1-0. Strikeout in the fourth of the game as well for Cole Gidley at that point. That's what he finished with, and a walk and a run scored in the second. McFarland in at first. That one nearly nicked the jersey. Wow. What a pick-me-up there for Tyler Blom. It bounced hard off what was probably the brick. Just a little bit of brick behind the backstop here at Jimmy John's Field. Right back at him. Don't often see that. 2-0 on Jordan Finney. Fans in the diamond tables probably had a good shot at that. Infield comes in after the Beavers scored the untying run in the top of the inning. 2 put on the board, and Cuevas is struggling to throw a strike all of a sudden.
Well, these batters are definitely getting in their zone against Cuevas. We saw it with Curiel, who got this lineup jump-started here at the bottom of the 6th. Could be an opportune time for a catcher in Finney who knows the zone.
3-0. Fastball at 87 for strike 1.
And it's in moments like this where just getting the barrel on the ball, putting the ball in play can be very advantageous. It can do plenty of damage, and we've seen spurts of Finney's power previously.
3-1, wipeout changeup. Boy, that just looks like a slider off his hand, doesn't it at times? 3-2 on Jordan Finney now. Still with no outs in the bottom of the 6th. And the dirt blocked by Blom. He'll complete the strikeout with a strike himself over to first base. And the ever important first out with 2 runners in scoring position here.
Could potentially be a confidence boost. Can't talk today, man. Could potentially be a confidence boost for Cuevas. You can just fire me now, Jeremy. It's okay.
No, you
I'll
don't.
go eat the s'mores that someone's making by that campfire.
Only if you bring them back.
I'll just tell you how good they are on the live stream chat.
First pitch to Hodo. Boy, just missed it. He's had a couple good at-bats here today. Number 1, he took all 4 pitches he saw back in the second, but fouled off endless tough pitches against Gidley in the 4th for a walk as well.
Hodo's definitely displaying that ability to draw the walk, to work the count. That's something where, hey, if he wants a certain pitch, he'll until he.
Change up high. You can see Cuevas visually frustrated a bit here in the 6th inning with his ability to locate the changeup and the fastball, which was not a problem earlier. 1-1, can of corn. Everybody literally jolting forward in the infield. Oh, no. That hit the face of Blom. Rebounded to McFarland. Are you kidding me? For the 2nd out here in the 6th inning.
What a reaction from the crowd.
It looks like it hit him square in the face, and all he can do is help but smile as Ed Campanella comes out and checks on him.
You can already see a bit of a red mark brewing there.
Yeah, we look at the replay on our YouTube monitor. That is exactly what happened. Off the noggin of Blom, high in the air. You just hope he's okay because that literally rebounded so high to McFarland in foul territory.
Could potentially be on a bit of an adrenaline kick right now. Taking a baseball to the noggin. My goodness. McFarland showing everybody that he got it.
Blom points over to Travis, says thank you.
Hey, I mean, not to jinx it, but USPBL, what was it? There's been 2 highlights shown on ESPN so far. That's a 3. Thank you, Matt, in our analytics department. That could be one of those crazy plays that you see come in every now and then.
Send it in.
As I knock on the fake wood here at the, goodness, I don't even know what this is, this countertop. It's just there.
Another changeup at 80 away, 1-0. Frankie Luska looking to drive in what could be another lead potentially for this Unicorns team.
Seen a sack RBI previously today, but just looking to get the ball out on the field. Drop in for a hit maybe. Very advantageous.
Here's the 1-1. Checked his swing, got away from Blom, heading home. Curiel sliding in. We're tied again.
Curiel displaying that speed. We've talked about it all game, and I'm sure almost every broadcast that he's been a part of. He's definitely a threat when he's on the base path, can translate over to his position at shortstop, but heads up play to know that he's able to get there at home. Heads up base running, rather.
Here's the 1-2 to Luska. Popped him up. This could be in trouble territory. Did find its way foul. And we talked about that smoke. It's kind of carrying some haze over to the field, especially on the left side.
Roy Verdejo was on a mission trying to track that foul ball, but you could see he could tell it was just going to be over the wall there. Does a little slide to stop before hitting the fence.
You can see it, Jenna. It's coming in right to left, kind of over the Cabana suite down the first base line, dissipating over the stadium and then kind of exiting back over the other
Well, see, now
Cabana suite.
Now you have me thinking about s'mores and somebody walked by with a gorgeous plate of nachos. Oh.
Nate, if you're watching, Nate Liska, the director of food and beverage here at the ballpark, we'd love something up here. 2-2 on Luska. The go-ahead run still standing at third base. Big 2-2 pitch, low. Another changeup.
Luska's no stranger. Wow. Luska is no stranger to the 3-2 count.
His second of the game. He walked on his first appearance in the first. Walked him again.
Very confidently throwing the bat. No hesitation there. Knows how to command the zone. Has that veteran-like plate discipline every time he steps into the box.
Walk number 23 and 24 on the year. Now brings up Colby Johnson. He drove in a run all the way back in the second inning. And as it stands right now, I'm guessing because they have not made an announcement that our next inning could be our last. By the time this inning wraps up, we're going to be very close to the time limit. First pitch in for strike one on Colby Johnson. In between his RBI single, he has a strikeout and a strikeout, both swinging, one against Cuevas and one against Gidley. That was to strand the runner on third by Cuevas when he came in immediately there. Fastball at 88 for strike two. Quickly 0-2 on the right fielder tonight for the Unicorns. Chopped it foul again. 0-2 on Colby Johnson. The pitch. Rearing back all he has. One of his best fastballs tonight at 89, nearly 90, 89 and a half on the flight scope here tonight. Here's the 1-2. Chopped in a bad spot for the Beavers. It's 5-4 Unicorns.
Nice work by Johnson to time it up. You could see there Cuevas was working a little bit inside on Johnson throughout the at-bat. Johnson was able to realize it, see it, and do it, putting the ball in play. Those grounders, they get the work done. Unicorns now up 5-4.
So now Drew Galassi trying to snap his 0 for 3. Would love to get some insurance runs here. 7 games without a home run for Drew Galassi. For some, that wouldn't be a huge deal, but for a guy that's hit 8, it's kind of surprising. Change up inside at 81. We talked about earlier how he's looking to maybe shorten up his swing a bit. He's felt that he's getting himself behind in counts a little bit more than he would like. Looking to take more of that 50% swing. 1-0 in there for strike one at Campanella, somebody who likes to teach hitting quite a bit on the Beavers side of things. Talked to me the other day about how many times guys really take their A swing. In terms of major leaguers, it's around 30%. 1-1. That looked like it. To right field it goes. Looking for the padding run and maybe 2. Colby Johnson racing to third. He'll stay there. It's 6-4 Unicorns.
Nice work by Galassi, the all-star center fielder. We've seen that power swing, and he's able to just poke it to right field to get the job done.
And in terms of A swing, your best swing, the swing you would take off a tee, you know, kind of the thing that you work towards, the thing that you would teach. And it's not always possible, right? Because, you know, say a pitch is outside or a pitch is high. Maybe you have to adjust so where you swing. I mean, we've seen Vlad Guerrero, you know, basically hit one off the ground. Senior, that is. Not sure if his son has done anything like that yet, but wouldn't surprise me. As Childress, or check that, Jones lifts it foul. He's already quietly the 8th batter to the plate here in the 6th inning, the most that any team has had thus far. Krenrich still tuning up. He's going to come in at what we would assume is a save situation in the top of the 7th with the time limit expounded. Williams Jr. over to first. That will be the last out here in the 6th. The tying run scores as it went off the glove of Tyler Blom. The go-ahead run in the end driven in by Colby Johnson, and one more padding run by Drew Galassi in the 6th inning on the USPBL network.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms, and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
There's Brandon Krenrich on in relief. One of now 5 arms used for Jim Estienne here today. Looking for the save. It was announced to between innings that the game would end after this inning unless things were tied. Well, it won't fall into the book as, I guess, a difference maker, at least right now, for this game, but you still look back to the play that went off of Tyler Blom's head, literally. A high pop-up, the whole infield reacting, everybody sprinting in a key moment with runners on second and third. And at that point, with the Beavers still up 4-3, Blom looking to locate it. Looked like he might have had a good chance to make the catch. Went off the top of his forehead, rebounded all the way to first base to Travis McFarland. He made the catch. And rewind and tag SC Top 10, will you, for us? I'm sure we'll do it after the game because it deserves to be on it. Maybe even not Top 10. Maybe both. I think that's one that could fall under that category, right? On each side. Travis McFarland, the power threat, will lead things off 5-6-7. Due up here in the top of the 7th inning. Brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. Krenrich pours in the fastball at 93. We talked about his start earlier. A 2-inning opener appearance the other night on Wednesday. Perfect baseball. 6 up, 6 down. His 13th, make it 14th appearance on the mound. He has 2 saves through 17 innings of work. Really good on the walks to strikeouts. 5 walks to 25 Ks. Just a bit of an elevated ERA so far for this righty. And really, you can point to 2 appearances. It was a 4 earned run outing all the way back on June 3rd versus the Beavers, and a 4 earned run outing on June 30th versus the Hoppers. The 0-2. Fastball at 93. See you later. 1 up and 1 down here in the 7th.
That now makes it the 11th strikeout for Krenrich, where he utilized his fastball as his main put-away pitch. Tying it up there with his slider, also at 11 strikeouts.
Ron Williams Jr. looking to get on base for the 2nd time here tonight. He's hit a couple balls hard but foul in his 2 at-bats where he struck out in the 3rd and the 5th. Struck out swinging and a strikeout looking in the 5th. And sprays that one back towards the opponent's dugout down the 3rd baseline.
That's something that his numbers would suggest, Jeremy, our new favorite stat, the batting average on balls in play. I said it right that time. 321 compared to his 220 average heading into today's game. So makes contact, but sometimes just right to the fielders.
That one low. 1-1 on Ron Williams Jr. Third baseman Jones pinching in with this lefty at the plate. First baseman Pinchman is back as normal. Right fielder Johnson playing towards the line, leaving some space in right center field as that one slices in for strike 2. The slider there from Krenrich. Mostly fastball slider. Every once in a while, the changeup. Throwing the slider at a very high clip, 47% coming into tonight. 2-2. You wanted that one. 3-2 on Ron Williams Jr. now.
Flirting just with the outside edge of the plate.
Collier Rutledge, your Zach Hart Agency man on deck here with 1 out in the 7th. 3-2. Change up, or make that the slider away. So a strikeout and a walk. And now the tying run comes to the plate.
Well, and Brandon Krenridge, when he is on point with his locations, especially against lefties, they're only hitting .091 heading into today's outing. So just finding that command and consistency will be key, not only against lefties, obviously, against right-handed batters as well.
Another fastball runs in hard at 93 for a ball. Slider for strike one. Rutledge, the designated hitter. It's been his main position so far this year for Ed Campanella. Modest lead for Williams. Doesn't want to get picked off in this situation. What a snare by Jones. Feeds to second in time. Over to first. Game winner! Jones coming in late in this game makes a huge play as Brandon Krenridge knocks down his third save of the year. Strikeout, walk, and a double play to one of the better defensive infields in the USPBL. Under a sellout crowd here tonight, the Unicorns still the best in the league as they capture a big victory here today. More on that when we get back on the USPBL Network.
If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you. If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Welcome to the Auto Lab post-game show. We are now joined by Utica Unicorns' Colby Johnson, who is our Rochester University player of the game. You stole back the lead with your RBI single that went into left field. You've got to walk me through it, though, because when you look at Cuevas, he's typically utilizing his changeup and his fastball. So what were you looking for when you stepped up to the plate?
Well, the at-bat before that one, he freaking K'd me on his changeup. It's the best changeup I've ever seen. So my thought process was just see everything up. He spotted up the first two pitches, so I'm down 0-2, and then I was like, screw it, I just got to try and put something in play, and I got lucky. So,
how hard is it to find that balance between being a reactionary hitter and coming in with a set game plan?
So you got to have a game plan, or you're just going to – that's what happened to me my first at-bat. I was chasing everything. I was just more swing it free instead of have a plan. So having the plan makes the biggest difference.
And looking at the sticks on your team, what does it say about the Unicorns to be able to come back and take the lead?
We just have some dogs on our team. We have some good dudes. Everybody, well, for instance, that inning, we start the inning off with Donnie and then John, or I was sixth up in that inning. So them starting it off made the difference. So.
And we've been talking about game plans heading into today's game. What was the message from your coaching staff on how to handle the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers?
Throw strikes and hit the ball with the fence. That's what Coach Skip says. So.
Absolutely love it. Well, Colby, good work today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All righty, and you guys, you have to stick around for the Friday fireworks. We'll see you, well, after the fireworks. Enjoy.